This is the video for the solving word problems in your ISN, page 20 and 21, these pages. So we're going to look at some of the strategies that you're going to use to solve these word problems. So when I am starting, the first thing that you always want to do is you want to read the problem. I tell my students usually the last sentence will tell you what you are looking for in the problem. Usually that last sentence. Then you want to look at the important information. It might be better if you highlight or circle it, identify important terms or units when you're reading the problem. There are many different strategies that we can use when we're trying to solve these problems. You might want to draw a picture. Lists are good, or even a chart. Sometimes you want to find a pattern. And we're going to get to the point where we are going to be writing equations that we need to solve when we're doing word problems. Then you want to solve it. You must. It's math. You've got to show your work. And so you can go back and check it and see if you got it right. Then finally, what some people forget to ask themselves is, does my answer even make sense when I'm looking at this problem? So we always want to go back and look and see that our answer makes sense. Okay, on the yellow sheet with these little signs, I want you to pause this video in a minute and then just write some words that you know are identifying adding. The one that you should always know is sum is the answer to an addition. Difference is the answer to a subtraction problem. A product is the answer to multiplying. And the quotient is the answer when you are dividing. So make sure you have those words, and then I'm going to give you a list, and you can fill in your chart if there was some words you missed. Here are the words. If you need to pause the video to get these down, do that. There's one that I am going to change. Per, we are going to say that is division. Because when we do unit rate, we're going to use the word per a lot. But there are a lot of good words here. Make sure you wrote the word total. You'll see that a lot. Make sure that you see decrease and less than. Those are going to be subtraction clue words. Hopefully you got times and multiply, but some other words that identify and multiply that you will see might be twice or double or triple. Those words mean that you're going to multiply by 2 or multiply it by 3. Some other words in division, per is one you're going to use a lot, but if you said half, you know that you're going to divide by 2. If you said a third of something, you should know that that word is telling you you're going to divide by 3, because 1/3 of something is the same as dividing by 3 when you remember your fractions. Okay, so get those words down because they're going to help us, and then we're going to try the problems. The first problem in your on your yellow sheet is an addition problem. So we're going to follow the steps. Read the problem. A football team gains 8 yards in one play, then loses 5 yards in the, that should be next play. What is the team's total yards? I think I typed that wrong. Anyway, here we go. Total. That's a clue word. We just read it. It means adding. So when I see that word, I know that this is going to be an addition problem. Some other important information. Gains 8 yards. Gains must be represent a positive integer of +8. Whereas losing 5 yards, well, when we lose something, we identify that with a negative sign, so a -5. When I said total, that meant I was going to add. So some of the strategies we can think about is if you wanted to even draw a football field. I'm not going to do that. I'm no artist by any means. If we think about +8, there is the gain of 8 yards when we've gone +8 in the positive directions towards the field goals. Okay, then when we lose 5 yards, we are going back 5 yards. Well, this is an addition problem. When I add 8, here's the problem that I'm solving. When I total it with the lost 5 yards, the signs are different when I'm adding. So when the signs are different, I find the difference between those two numbers. Well, the difference between 8 and 5 is 3. Because the 8 is a bigger number, the absolute value is bigger, my answer is going to be positive 3. So the team gained, as it got, it's a positive answer, it gained 3 yards. So that should make sense. And we've done all the strategies. Let's try the next one. That's the subtraction problem. So when we're doing this one and reread it, the temperature changed from 5 degrees Fahrenheit at 6 p.m. to -2 degrees Fahrenheit at midnight. How much did the temperature decrease? There's that key word. We're looking for a temperature change and it decreases. Well, that indicates that it's a subtraction problem. So what's some important information? There's 3 numbers that I can identify here, but we're talking about temperature. So we need to be able to identify that 6 p.m. is really not relevant to the answer that I'm looking for. I am looking for a change, so a difference in a positive 5 degrees Fahrenheit and a -2. So let's think about this on a scale, a vertical scale, because we're going to be 5 above 0 and we go down to 2 below 0. So we're going to go from 5 and then we're going to go minus a -2. 5 minus a -2. Because look at what the degree, the change is, how much it is decreased. These two negatives, right, are going to make a positive. So when I keep change, I am going to rewrite this equation as 5 plus 2, which means it is 7 degrees Fahrenheit that's going to change. So I used a strategy of drawing. I've solved my answers, and does it make sense? You can see it's gone down 5 and it's gone down 2 more. So it makes sense that it went down it decreased by 7 degrees Fahrenheit. The next 2 problems, multiplication and division, we're going to just do them quickly. Evie's watch is water resistant up to -15 feet. So it can go negative below the water, it can go -15 feet. The negative indicates it's below the water. Mateo's watch is 8 times the depth of Evie's. Mateo's watch is water resistant to what maximum depth? So when we go, we want to know the depth that we can go with Mateo's watch, the maximum depth, and we got to go back. Here's a clue word right here, 8 times. It is telling you to multiply. So you are going to multiply 8 times the depth that Evie's watch can go, 8 times a -15. And when I multiply those numbers, I'm still remembering the rules, a positive times a negative, the signs are different. So my answer is going to be negative, and it's going to be -120 feet when I multiply those out. So if you think about it, if it was twice as much, it would be -30. If it was 4 times as much, it would be -60. When it's 8 times as much, it's going to go down -120 feet. It makes sense. The last question. Kim was walking down a rocky path for 4 minutes. The elevation dropped. It's going down steadily. Altogether, it dropped 8 feet. What is the change in elevation per minute for the 4 minutes? This per right here, when I do that and I read elevation per minutes, we're going to see a lot of this in the next unit when we do unit rate. Elevation per minute. So it's kind of feet per minute. Looking at the units is a good strategy to figure out what we're going to do. we're going to take the feet and we're going to divide it by the number of minutes. All right, so it's 4 minutes and 8 feet. But if you can look at these words and see elevation per minute, you are going to know this is a division problem. So if you are going down, down 8 feet, right? If you think about that, 8 feet, and you want to know how many you would group it in four. So there's a minute, there's 2 minutes, there's 3 minutes, there's 4 minutes is what you're looking at. So you're really taking this 8 feet and you're dividing it into four, and you want to know how many feet it went down every minute. You want to know how many feet it went down per minute. So when we do 8/4, this is division, feet per minute, then we will have 2 if we divide this, feet per minute. Does it make sense? Yep. In 1 minute you went down 2, the next minute you went down 4, right? Then 6, and then you would go down 8. It makes sense. Hopefully this helps. There is a little strategy pamphlet that I will put in the handouts that you could also use that will help. Retell the words in your own problem. You heard me doing that. Think about the operations and what you're going to do to solve it. Does it say total? You're going to add. Does it say the word per? It probably means you're dividing somewhere. Show your work. If this helps you, you can use this. You'll find it in the handouts on Teams. Write your answer in a complete sentence and then always ask, does it make sense? Hopefully this helps you with word problems. You're going to see them all year. That's it.